Greetings, my name is Mikal. This is just a short video about the guitar lessons that I am offering online. I just want to give you a bit of an idea of who I am and how I work with this. So my lessons are primarily for beginners or for people who have picked up the guitar in the past and have put it aside for a while and want to bring it back to life again. And I can also happily work with people who have played for a little while and just want to learn some new things. And what I'm focusing on are the basics. Because if we have the basics in place, then it becomes so much easier whatever you want to do with the guitar. So whether you want to play classical music on a classical guitar like this one, or whether you want to play rock and roll or just play some chords and sing along, whether you want to do a steel string guitar, no matter what you want, the basics are still the same. And I played the guitar for about 40 years or so. So I have learned that if you get the basics in place, it doesn't matter what direction you want to go in, whether you want to play or and so on. And we can do that on the same guitar, as you can see. The basics that I am working with, what I've discovered over the years for myself and other people is that sometimes we learn some bad habits to start with, simply because it's easier. And then that comes back to bite us later on when we want to move on and learn some more cool stuff. So the way I work is very, very simple. I like simple. So I do 3 basic things, again, no matter what type of guitar you want to play. First is, what are we going to do with the right hand? And I'm just assuming the normal setup where you're playing it this way around that most people do. If you do it the other way around, you just have to think the other hand. So what we do with the right hand. And one of the easiest way to practice things is by doing things separately and then putting them together rather than trying to do everything right at the same time. So we simply start by learning how to use this right hand. And I prefer playing with my fingers, my fingernails, because it gives me some freedom. And if you want to play with a pick, that's fine. So the way I'm holding my fingers when I'm playing is the same as if I had a pick in my hand, but I'm using the nail on this finger. So either way is fine, but we need to get into a habit of a relaxed right hand that can do this movement, whether it's just playing a simple rhythm like this, or whether that way, or a combination of things. So that's one thing we need to learn with this one. The other thing we need to learn is to be able to play single strings. So we can practice something simple like this, and then we can get into some more complicated stuff along the way. And of course there's finger picking in a multitude of different ways. That comes down the track a little bit, but we can do all that. And for that we need this hand. Then the second aspect of the 3 is, what are we going to do with the left hand? So we want to start with practicing some very simple things here. Want to get the calluses on our fingers toughen up a bit, because that's going to make a big difference to how easy it is to play. But we also need to work our fingers, and many people in the beginning excuse me, only start with using 3 fingers just for some simple chords, and then the little finger is just dangling there. And that's a shame, because the little finger is the one that makes things sound really cool down the track. So we want to engage all our fingers, and we want to use our whole fretboard. So a simple exercise we do right at the beginning is being able to just go down like this, and then another finger back, and then we do that with every finger. We can do it on different strings and so on. And another one to start getting these going is, and so on. And again, we can do that on different strings. So let's start warming this up to the point where we at some point can then start doing scales, which we can then use if we want to do lead guitar improvisations later on. So that is this. The other thing we need to learn with this one are chords. So there are basically 6 basic chords that we start with that are the easiest, you know, A, C, D, E, F, and G. And then later on we get on to the bar chords. But for a beginning we don't need those. There's a lot of songs we can play with just those basic chords. So, and a lot more things we can do with this hand, but let's keep it simple for this video. So that was 2 of the 3. What is the third one? The third one is, how does it actually work? Now, we can call it theory, but I don't like that word. So how does this thing work? Like, what are the names of these strings? So it's a little bit of music theory, but you know, we don't need to go into some great details with that. But to understand what are the names of the strings and how do the strings relate to each other? What's the relationship between the strings? And then scales, how do they fit into it? And then our chords, how do we build the chords? Because the structure of a D chord is exactly the same structure as an A chord. It's just different notes. So when we learn that, and then learn how this fretboard is built, then we can start doing different things with that. So we can have a C chord here, but we also realize we can have a C chord here, and we also realize we can have a C chord here. Depending on what it is that we want to do, we also have it here. And just understanding the basics of how this works allows us to move things around and start creating some music ourselves, but also play other music, but making it more interesting. So a C chord here is a limit to what I can do with it, but if I play it here, I have more options in how I do the rhythm on that. So that's part of number 3. So right hand, left hand, and how does this work? And they are the 3 basics, and you need that no matter what type of guitar you want to play. So if you want more information on this, if you want to do some lessons with me, they are face-to-face on face-to-face online, that is, on say Skype or Zoom or whatever media you're using. Just get back in touch with me, either via email, that will be in below, and we can book in a quick chat, which is not going to cost you anything. It's just checking in to see whether we can work together. And if you're interested in going further, then we can take the next step and book in some lessons for you. So I will put the details, the costing and that in the details below this video as well, so you have all that information. And if you do have any questions, put it into the comments, and I promise I will get back to you as quickly as I can. Right now, in this very moment, I'm in New Zealand and we are in lockdown, so I got plenty of time to communicate and also to offer these lessons online. So thank you for watching and listening, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good day.